Hi everyone, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. My name is Silencia. I'm also known here on social media as the Natural Brown Beauty. And today we are going to be talking about how to avoid heat damage. Yes, a much needed discussion. So if you are interested in learning how to avoid heat damage and some tips that I have learned along my journey, then stay tuned. All right, y'all. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is my experience with heat damage. I do also have a confession that I would like to make. So a few years back, I'll say I think 3, I decided to do the big chop. This is when I initially learned that I had permanent heat damage that was irreversible. I think one of the reasons why I had heat damage was because I didn't know how to properly take care of my hair when using heat styling, and I think that I just repeatedly did things that like really took a toll on my head. And I kind of like tried to transition to being natural, but at the same time was still doing things that were kind of like setting me back in a sense. So that was the first time I had heat damage. And then just recently, you guys, oh my gosh, I'm like so devastated to even like talk about this, but I just recently flat ironed my hair and yes, there is some heat damage. Yeah, so this video is kind of really hard for me to talk about because I've taken care of my hair so much and it has grown tremendously, and then to know that there is a possibility that it may be irreversible, it's just like devastating. But I'm creating this video for those of you who want to learn how to avoid it and what to do if you have it. So that's my headspace that I'm trying to stay in and not get like devastated or beat up. But yeah, that's currently where we are. So I've had heat damage twice, and I'm gonna walk you through my experience, how to prevent it, and if you have it, what to do. Okay, so the number one thing that I would suggest with using heat, if you decide to use it, is to use the proper amount of heat. And I cannot stress this enough. And I think this is the reason why in both of my situations, this is why heat damage occurred. Because I have a very thick and coarse texture hair. I have type 4 hair, 4B, 4C. To me, it is extremely hard to like get it straight, or so I felt that it was necessary to use a lot of heat in order to get a silky Slade style. And what I've learned is that that is not the best idea at all. Do not do that. If you don't want heat damage, this is the number one thing I can stress. Do not use an extensive temperature of heat. I've also learned that curly hair is super fragile. For whatever reason in my brain, I felt my hair was really strong, but turned out that it's not. Curls are very fragile. And also that a lot of heat protectants that you use only go up to a certain amount of heat. So for example, if you're using a heat protectant, it may only protect your hair up to, let's say, 350 degrees. So if you're using anything past that, it's pointless that you just use the heat protectant. That is something I learned. That is the number one thing I will stress. Use a effective and accurate amount of heat when heat styling. I cannot stress that enough. All right, so the second thing that I will also say will help you to avoid heat damage is to use an actual heat protectant. There are so many products out there that are for heat styling. Just to name a few, you have like a heat protectant spray, there's heat protectant shampoo, heat protectant conditioner, serums, oils, I've never used an oil though, so I can't really say, but I know there's quite a few different brands that do have an oil that are supposed to like help with heat damage. Have not experienced that just yet, but yes, use something to protect your hair when you're heat styling. So that also includes with blow drying as well. Like when you finish your wash routine, that is when I would advise to use the heat protectant before you go into blow drying and before you go into flat ironing. The third thing that I would mention is once you initially style your hair with heat, do not later on go back and restyle your hair with heat. Meaning you go and let's say you flat iron your hair and you go and work out, you sweat, and then the next day you want to re-flat iron your hair. No, do not do that. That will also lead to heat damage, and that's what I did the first time that I had heat damaged. I flat ironed my hair, my whole head is straight, and now it's getting, it's getting old. I go back in and flat iron my hair again. Your hair and scalp generate natural oils. Now you're going through and re-flat ironing this. It's creating more damage. And then you're basically cooking your hair because your oils are mixing with the heat. It's just not a good combination. And I'm telling you, avoid it at all costs. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk to you about is after you have flat ironed your hair or heat styled your hair, you want to nourish your hair again because it may or may not have damage, and that's, dependent upon you. But I would say regardless of that fact, you still want to use products that are going to strengthen it back. So Adwoa Beauty has a really good deep conditioner. It's a reparative deep conditioner, and I actually have it. Let me grab it. Yeah, so Adwoa Beauty it's called Blue Tansy Reparative Mask, and this is basically created to help with damaged hair or color treated hair. It's very moisturizing, and it's used to like strengthen your curls, strengthen your hair. So for damaged or color treated hair, this is the mask that they have, deep conditioner. And then there's also a Blue Tansy leave-in conditioning styler. This is basically is paired with this one as well, but this is a leave-in, and this also helps to strengthen your hair. So even if you don't have heat damage, I would still say like use a product like one of these two to help add some strength back into your hair, because it could be at a fragile state or could have a little more stress than usual with heat styling. So it's really important to do treatments or give it that extra love that it needs so that it can bounce back. So the last thing that I want to mention is if you have used heat and you do notice heat damage, things that you can do to help nurse your hair back to health. There are certain things called bond treatments. There's one that I've currently been using by a brand called Olaplex. And basically what it's made for is to kind of like, your hair has obviously a hair follicle and a hair strand. And if you have received heat damage, sometimes those bonds become broken. And that's why your curls aren't, coily or, what, zigzag, however your curls are. So the bond treatment basically helps to like strengthen, build the bond back, strengthen your hair. So I've been using that. I've used it twice. I have noticed a slight difference in my hair, and I don't know. My hope is that continuously using this product, that it can restore, my curls. There is a small doubt in me, however, that my hair won't ever be the same, and it would really be devastating to have to do the big chop again, but I would do it. So we'll see what happens. But There's bond treatments to help, you know, restore your curls, help to reverse some of those effects or stresses that the heat has placed upon your hair. I know protein treatments also help as well. There's one by Adwoa that I used in my previous experience with heat damage. But again, my hair was too far gone at that point to like have any hope. With this go round, I do see some hope. So, and that's another thing I would say, like once you do notice that there is damage, fully assess the damage and see, is it repairable? Is it possibility that I can bring it back? If it is, I would say give yourself some time and some grace to try to reverse the damage. And you know, if you don't see any progress within that time frame, then that'll be up to you, obviously. But for me, I'm giving myself through like December of this year, 2024, to do another reassessment and see where we at. Do you see any progress? Are they bouncing back? What's going on? So yeah, and that's why I've kind of just styled my hair, something easy, something that won't require a lot of work for like the next week or so. But yeah, I'm kind of just trying to nurse my little curls back to life, and we'll see what happens. My goal is to help someone avoid what I've done now for 2 times. But yeah, that's all my tips that I had in this video. If you've also had heat damage and something has worked with you, for you, please share it for the sake of us all. For the sake of my curls and for the sake of us all. But yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, suggestions, or tips, feel free to drop those in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here. Content will continue to roll. And yeah, thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next video. Peace and love.